So we're looking at how to plan for the Ella3 comparative analysis question. You have approximately an hour and a half to answer this question, and you should spend half an hour planning. So we're going to look at what you should do with those 30 minutes before you actually start answering the question. So the first thing you should do, you will have 3 texts in front of you. For brevity today, we're just going to use 2 texts. You should actually read through the text and underline where you see the writer's or character's attitude. So, for the purpose of today, we are going to look at 2 texts from Cupcakes and Kalashnikovs. Under text A, we would make a note of what attitude we think is demonstrated there by the writer. We will say that the writer seems amazed by the amount of people that are fleeing from Spain. Then we'd go back to the text and we'd write down our second attitude. And now on to text B. And we write fear. We'll try and find one more attitude, one more feeling. First is the report from a Spanish Civil War published in 1939. An English journalist is reporting from a refugee camp on the border between France and Spain. So, the first attitude we see is the whole landscape seems to be moving. The writer is describing all the different types of people that are gathering and moving across the landscape. The refugees moving from Spain to France. So, in our table, and we're looking for another attitude. In total, we're probably looking for between 2 and 4 attitudes. So here, the writer quotes one of the doctors who says, "There is an appalling lack of supplies, of staff, and of help." And here the writer seems to be concerned about conditions in the camp. So we'd go back to our table. And for text B, we're looking at Surviving the London Blitz, written by an American journalist on the night that London was bombed by the Germans. The article was published in an American daily newspaper. So, there are several indications earlier on. The writer is actually terrified by the bombing. She's present at the actual bombing. She's in London at the time of the bombings. And she says that it was the most frightening night of her life. And also that some of the things would scare the wits out of anyone. So both clearly show a sense of fear on the writer's part. So we go back to our table. And if we look at this quote, and the glow around the horizon certainly looked as though the entire city might be up in flames any minute, then we see here the writer suggesting almost a sense of amazement at the scale of the damage that the bombing's done, at the scale of the fires. So we go back to our table.